Martial arts and self defense. I like to tell you what I have been listening to. There was this interview with Joe Rogan, the very famous commentator, and actually one of the martial arts hosts. He himself, I think, is a martial arts expert. He has been studying and commenting on this and interviewing people lifelong for many, many years, so he knows a lot about this issue. He says actually that when you need to learn about which would be the best martial art for you, and there are plenty many. You see, when you ask, for example, Google or YouTube, they will tell you that maybe Shaolin, Kung Fu Shaolin would be the best. Number two might be Krav Maga. Number three might be Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I mean, you name it. He himself, Joe Rogan, says you should actually be prepared to fight or imagine at least that you are fighting an MMA expert. That would be his choice. That anybody, as self defense mechanism, should learn about how to fight the best possible opponent. Well, that is his opinion in the first place. Number two, the second interview, George St. Pierre, he said in a YouTube interview, you can see that interview. I have that in my channel. You can see in the section English section concerning self-defense. I have a section there. So George St. Pierre says that when he was 6 years old, he was playing a game. I think the name was Mountain. And when he came on top, he got surprised by another kid that told him if he wanted to fight him, he got punched in the face. And out of this experience that he never forgot, he says that martial arts is a question of the surprising effect. So, in his opinion, is to be prepared for any kind of surprise. That is what he learned, and he was a champion in different categories, actually. So, now, what is the one martial art that I would always, always recommend you? And you can see here many. Let me show you first. Here you got plenty many. Like I said, there is, karate, then you have the ninjutsu, then you have the ninja fighting. Then I mean, you got plenty many. You can see today online at least top 10 super martial arts, and they are definitely good. And those masters are big masters, like I said. But the one martial art that I always think is the number one best, let me show you which one that would be. I'm gonna select it for you. It's not this one precisely, but in my humble opinion, that should be the number one martial arts that you should master. And I tell you why. It is not that you're going to beat Magnus Carlsen or the 16-year-old kid from or teenager from India who is actually I would say, the big promise in chess. But why is chess definitely the best martial art defense? Because in chess, as you can see here, you have to anticipate what your opponent is doing. In chess, the top players always, always anticipate moves. In life is something similar, and let me tell you why. When you know that you are maybe in a, let's say, dangerous situation, or that you are about to enter a dangerous situation, your intention is always to think how to avoid any dangerous situation whatsoever. Let me put you an example. Let me give you an example. When you are in nature, you're not going to face, let's say, a bear, a lion, or any other wild animal that you know is going to outpower you big time, because animals are definitely the best fighters ever. I mean, you cannot see any human being that is going to face a tiger, lion, jaguar, or any other wild animal. I mean, I'm talking about the bigger ones. So, that having said that, we know that we are not a match for any of those animals whatsoever, for very, very obvious reasons. So we anticipate and we don't go in the wild into the first place. So when I tell you that chess is the first best martial arts, is because you have always, always I would say, the strategy about anticipating things. If you know that your opponent is much stronger, why facing him? Why going into the terrain where he is the master? Why actually encountering him? You are going to avoid that as much as you can. I'm talking about the real martial arts. In my opinion, is always see in advance what's going to happen. If you are in a bar and you know that something is about to happen, don't go there in the first place. Select a better bar where you maybe pay bigger price for a beer, but actually you will be better off. You will enjoy. So no matter what, if you're planning to go out in either Tokyo, New York, Bogota, Rio de Janeiro, any other of those bigger cities where you know that danger might appear, so calculate in the first place where you are planning to go. Check your budget and see if you have the money for the taxi. If you're planning, for example, to have a couple of drinks, then be always very careful with about your drinks. For example, if you are in Bogota, because of the substances they can put in your drink. So you are always anticipating what is about to happen. That is why you select the best environments, the best places, and you always look, always check. So you activate your five senses. That is how you anticipate moves. And if you're planning to drink a little bit more, go to a place where you feel more comfortable, more secure, where you feel safer. And that is why chess is the best martial art ever. You're not planning to face anybody or any opponent. You don't go to a street where you know it's dangerous. You always think in advance. That is why human beings, we always have the upper hand in nature, because we know that we don't go or we don't meet people, characters, places that constitute a danger for us. And that is how in chess you always anticipate. If there is, for example, let me put it this situation, a woman, classical example, and that woman knows, for example, that his former partner is a violent, aggressive man, why encountering him? Why? Why? Because he tells you that he would like to tell you, apologize, this and that. No. You say, like sharply, no, because you know what might happen. If you know that, for example, the other person is very jealous, this and that, aggressive, so don't go into situations where you know that you have kind of vulnerability. And that is why I totally disagree about what Joe Rogan says or even George St. Pierre, because we human beings are very strong because we calculate in advance. Like in chess, you always move, and as much as you can, remember what I'm telling you, as much as you can, you always think about those moves beforehand. And that is how, for example, when you see what was the anticipation factor, many of the big generals, many of the big fighters, many of the big strategists in war or at war, they actually calculated beforehand. They calculated in advance what was about to happen. And that was what made them really strong. And I would say then the anticipation factor would be for you the best possible martial arts. So no matter what, you always think in advance to see what are the best options for you. So when you think about martial arts, think about chess, think about anticipation factor. I'm going to give you more videos on this issue, and I'm going to give you the three golden rules, in my opinion, to have the best possible defense for you with the up-to-date perspective, with the up-to-date reality for you.